also the president of Rennell Parker, LLC.
Next on the Bonita Show, we have our discussion panel, two very distinguished authors. Please welcome to the Bonita Show, Dr. Marjorie Wolter and Dr. Michael Lynch.
Hello, lady.
I'm Nancy L. Bauman, owner of Stonebrook Publishing. Whenever someone finds out that I own a publishing company, their eyes light up and they get all excited and say, "Really? I've been wanting to start a book." Well, I love hearing that because I know how to help. I'm convinced that some of the best stories are trapped inside would-be writers, but those stories haven't been told because the writer doesn't know how to pull that story out. They just don't know how to get started. Or maybe you've already written a book, but don't know how to get it published. Unfortunately, I can't publish every book that crosses my desk, but I can help you get your project ready for publication, whether you decide to self-publish or submit it to a publishing house. I know what publishers want in terms of quality and style in a book manuscript. I also know what they don't want and want to help you avoid those mistakes. I used my experience as a university professor and a professional publisher to create a program called Get My Book Out for both fiction and nonfiction writers. Whether you don't know how to start a book or you need help getting a finished manuscript out of your hands and into the hands of readers, Get My Book Out can show you the next steps and guide you to produce a professional, polished manuscript. You're watching this video because you have a story to tell, one that's probably burning inside you. If you haven't written anything yet because you don't know how to start a book, then you've come to the right place. Let's work together to get your book out.
Thank you guys for coming back on the Bonita Show once again.
Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you very much because, I don't know what we're saying, but if people like it, that's good. That's a good thing.
Right.
Hopefully that's a good thing.
And we like each other, so that's a good place to
There's a lot of
start.
objects in this room that could be throwing at us, so I'm just trying to keep our sanity as much as possible.
See, Dr. Lynch has been on my show about three previous times. She came on the show a couple of weeks ago, so now they're back today to talk about allowing the greatness in you to become great. And we've heard enough of that tonight, am I right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So you guys want to lead us off? Dr. Wolter, want to lead us off in that discussion?
Yes, I think the examples tonight are all about courage. And to me, courage to grow my heart muscle is one of my guiding premises. Meaning, whenever there's a situation that I don't understand, I'll have my little pity party or my meltdown or whatever, and then I'll ask, what is it? How can I be growing my heart muscle in this situation? Because if I'm choosing to speak about the kind of person I am, then I better darn well be becoming that person in every way I can. And I think that then transpires into transcends into every interaction we're in. Because what I hear a lot from people is, I'm so afraid to talk to this person about how I really feel, or I'm so afraid they're going to be mad at me, or on and on and on. Things that cause distance rather than having the courage to have the faith that whatever your truth is in that moment is absolutely perfect. It is divinely ordained, and when you trust that truth, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how obnoxious it sounds, it is absolutely the right thing.
Wow.
I'm not that brave. So I don't talk about those things. The mind, for millions of years, or ever since man has walked around, is an amazing puzzle. It's an amazing thing. And what Dr. Wolter, right?
Yeah.
Wolter is saying is that a lot of it is done through emotional content. So I take a word, let's pick love or responsibility or something on that nature. And then what happens is, because we're emotional creatures by instinct, we start labeling an emotion to it. Love makes me feel good. Responsibility doesn't make me feel good. Things like that. And it builds through our entire lives. The weird part about it is that we're supposed to feel good about everything we do. Now we can approach this two different ways. First, we can do exactly what she says, and we can trick our subconscious into adding greatness to whatever we do, courage to whatever we do. And then that's by detaching the negative feelings. Why do I feel bad about this? Why do I regret this? What's standing in my way? And the only thing that's standing in the way is the association of the expression, the emotion. So let's just look back up a second. Since I'm a man, I look at things a little differently. So what we do is, when we're young, we have a bag. And all of our emotions are down in that bag, that purse, that suitcase, whatever you want to call it. It's that junk bag. And when we're kids, we don't understand that we're supposed to separate that out. We're supposed to take out as we grow older. So when we reach a certain age, all of a sudden we have a home. And I say, okay, so I have a home, and so I take that out of the bag, and the home is here. So now I have this, all of this emotional stuff, all this regret, dread, greatness, aspirations in the bag. And I get confused and I get lost, and I have to dig down into the bag to get out what I want. And that causes so much confusion and so much emotional drainage that what we do is we get to a certain age, we have home, we have business, we have our career. And so we start taking things out of the bag, and then we sit them on the table, one at a time. And then we say, okay, why do I feel bad about talking to someone about a relationship? Or why do I feel bad about pampering myself? Why do I feel guilty all the time? Why do I go through this? And it's because what we're not seeing is that the guilty, well, I'll call them file folders because everybody's computer literate maybe these days, or you have a filing cabinet. The file folder for intimidation, regret, dread, anxiety is still connected to the folder that says career, greatness. So you say, okay, well, I don't want that. I want to build my own file folder and stick it right next to my career. And that file folder will say greatness. That's all that's going to be associated with that career is greatness. Not anxiety, not depression, not regret, remorse. Only one thing. So we're going to get rid of the other file folders, and we're going to attach one thing to it, and that's greatness. And it automatically, your subconscious goes, wait a minute, if nothing else is attached to it, guess what? It's going to come out great. What she said was the first hurdle is getting past certain ideas, certain emotional values, to not learn to accept, but to learn to be great with whatever you've done. So I'm cooking dinner. Okay, let's cook some dinner here. I'm cooking some French cuisine. Okay, and I have my recipe in front of me. If I put great in my head before I start that recipe, it's going to turn out great. Every single time. There's no doubt in my mind. Because why? There's no other thing connected with that. So we lay out all the folders, all the file folders out there. Someone pulled my hair in 6th grade, or I didn't get the date to go to the prom, or I didn't get that car, I didn't get that promotion, I didn't get blah, blah, blah. You put them all in those folders, and then you just disassociate them with what you want to do.
See, I can't disassociate. You
Well,
can't
I
do
know.
this. So
Yeah.
I'm the woman, so I don't disassociate. So
Right.
this is my metaphor. When I'm riding in the car in the convertible, when all the parts of my personality are coming up, and there are ones that I'm thinking, what the H is that? You know, I need to ditch it. No, you put that piece of your personality in the back seat of the convertible, and everybody goes to the party together. So if you can't do computers, you can just say, I love and accept each piece of myself, and in that way, it becomes linked to greatness.
And then you say
and
that
then you all just go cruise together.
in front of that folder.
Folder, convertible, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you want to keep in the trunk. Whatever you want to keep in
That's
that
right.
purse. Whatever you want to do. So the deal is that you associate, or you disassociate. And in our confusing, complex world that we live in, saturated in people trying to persuade you to buy something you do not need or do not want, we have to sit back and say, is that going to help me be great? You know, Benita was, you know, her greatness came in steps. She had one camera. You know, she had one idea. You know, she had one way of implementing that, and it came in steps. But the greatness grew in steps. And sometimes that's how we have to accept that. But there's other times when we can sit back and say, and Benita will say this to herself, I'm going to have the greatest show in the world. I'm going to have the greatest guests on the planet. And they're going to be right here. And they're going to be talking to you because she's already got it in her mind that first step is going to be great.
And we are still growing.
That's right. I feel like also that there is...
Welcome to St. Louis Health. Please allow us to share the goals, vision, and mission of St. Louis Health Equipment Lending Program, or St. Louis Health, a nonprofit organization. We hope this video will help you understand our mission and how St. Louis Health benefits our community. Our message is simple. Clean out your attic, garage, or basement and donate your used or unneeded home medical equipment to St. Louis Health, so we can in turn lend it free of charge to someone else in need. Each year, St. Louis Health distributes thousands of medical health equipment items to individuals and organizations in our community in need of equipment. Recipients are able to live more safely, stay in their own home, and it helps their caregiver too. St. Louis Health saves recipients and their caregivers over $1 million annually in medical costs for health equipment. Over the years, healthcare has become a serious issue for many Americans. Many have experienced reduced access to health care, leading to a growing population of uninsured or underinsured people. St. Louis Health is a simple and straightforward charity. We don't charge fees to program recipients, and we don't seek unrelated program income. Instead, we depend solely on charitable gifts from caring individuals. You too can help St. Louis Health.
And then the other thing is connecting mind, body, and spirit. So for me, the way I visualize that is, heart, head, your third eye area, and then where we talk about our gut. So integrating all three areas, and I actually visualize that from if somebody was standing sideways, you could image an infinity symbol going from their head, through their heart, down through their diaphragm, back up through their heart, and through their head. Does that make sense? Yeah. So when you're meditating, you can actually visualize that and breathe through that pattern that integrates those three areas of your body. Because while you're doing that physically, it's integrating all those different aspects of your being. And typically, especially in this society, we tend to break those parts off. And also people find themselves being questioning whether they have the ability to be spiritual and logical, or creative and logical, as you've experienced post-military yellow folder. So I think that's the message of the time that we're living in, is it's a time of integrating all those aspects, and that there's much more, if not an acceptance of that, an awareness of that. And with the work that you do, we've talked a bit about,
Yeah.
you know, what is normal, but what's
Well,
defined as paranormal is just paranormal because we don't understand.
Well, paranormal is just pre-normal. It's pre-bell curve technology. So there's a guy who's in his garage, and he's developing Snow White. Okay, his name was
Walt Disney.
Exactly. He was in his garage called Disney Studios. It was his garage, okay, right outside of Anaheim. So in his mind, he had the greatest cartoon studio in the world. See what I'm saying? And his mind and his heart was in that project. He knew that was the future. Okay? And the other pun about your stomach is it has 200 times more nerve connections than
Yes.
your brain. And your
The
heart
second
chakra,
brain.
and your heart chakra goes out 3 feet beyond your body. So when you walk by somebody who's sick and you feel it in your chest, like Eskimos do, Eskimos feel weather in their heart. But if you walk by somebody and you feel immediate empathy, you know, someone's hurting, someone's sick, it's coming from the heart. The heart has already reached out and grabbed that information and drug it back. The brain has got to itemize it. You know, I walked in to several job interviews, like a lot of people have, and it's like, this is a great Fortune 500 company, it's the best laboratory in St. Louis or wherever, and you walk in and your gut goes, yeah, something's wrong. I have butterflies, that old expression, I have butterflies. No, it's that there's more information running through your body than your brain can itemize. And you just have to organize that. Get in touch with that spirituality feeling of safety. And it comes from a very old idea of self-preservation and survival. But the whole idea is that it can be a spiritual strength just as it is a physical normality. It's just normal for us to feel this way.
Well, it's all the nerves firing,
Right.
as you
Right.
mentioned. So butterflies in the stomach really is butterflies in the stomach. It's the second brain, which has millions, billions of neurons telling you something's off. It's your heart reaching out. If any of you are familiar with heart math, there's a whole society around that. And the heart is a much bigger electromagnet. It literally sends out vibrations much further than the brain. In fact, our whole bodies are big electromagnets. So when we talk about a bad vibe, or they have great vibes, that's not, we didn't even know what we were saying when we said that. We said it as a joke, but it really is true. We are vibrating, everything around us is vibrating, and so it's very important that we understand that this isn't a made-up concept. It's not airy-fairy, you know, it's not any of that. It's much more the science is catching up, as you say. The science is catching up with spirituality, and in fact, science is crazier now than spirituality, so we're all off the hook.
Yeah, that's but I talked to just some doctors just the other day, and for the first time that I've ever talked to doctors, they actually said the body is electromagnetic. You know, not biochemical completely, but electromagnetic. And I was flabbergasted. It was like blew me away. So
Okay, while we're talking, I'll ask one quick question, then we're going to allow the audience to ask questions. We'll close it up. You told me a story about the Indian did not want his haircut, an Indian hair. Tell them about that, because that's what leads to the vibes. Indian, I know you told me so many, right?
I tell you so many.
The Indian who did not want his hair cut because the hair helps the Indian to. You don't remember the story? The hair helps the. They're able to gauge either, I don't know, I can't remember if it was weather or.
So it's like whiskers on a cat.
Yeah,
You put
yeah.
the whiskers, they're in trouble.
Yeah. You know?
Well, there's a lot of things. In every part of our body, they're interconnected, and the hair and the nails offer the protein value of the entire body, and they are receptors actually for all of our primary DNA. So if you want to work with DNA, you're going to work with either hair, nails, or stem cells, which you can actually create. So the idea is that if we if we're told to do something that is totally against the way we spiritually feel or understand, then there's something unique to that that's part of our body. It's part of our self-esteem. It's part of our image. And we don't want to change that. I know in the rock industry, rock and roll industry, people come in and they say, okay, we're going to make you a rock star. We're going to change your hair and change your clothes and change blah, blah, blah. And then the person can't perform anymore because they're not who they were when they got started. They change them. And they not only change them visually, they change them somehow subconsciously and spiritually. And that's a bad body. That's the way it doesn't work.
Okay, any questions out there for Dr. Wolter or Dr. Lynch? No question. Y'all afraid of the answers, aren't you? Be very afraid. I'd be afraid of our
Very afraid. But the whole idea is not only to blend, it's bringing yourself out. It's not recreating yourself. It's understanding how to bring out you. And so you can go and be hypnotized and be told through hypnosis that you're great, that your greatness has to come out, it has to be allowed, and you have to allow it. No one can come and make you great. I can't come to Katina or the doctor and say, hey, you're great, no problem, give me 5. No. They have to establish that, and they have to allow that to come out. They have to allow it. So I'm sitting there going, okay, how does any NFL superstar become great? He allows that energy, that flow, that spirituality, those emotions, he allows it to flow because he's telling himself, that's greatness. That's how he'll become great.
And it's your responsibility to do that.
It's
I think that's where we get tripped up.
And then we
think it's okay to be small, but really that's the biggest sin when we talk about sin. It's disconnection from who we really are.
So we have to prioritize, organize, reconnect only the parts that will make you better. Then everything else goes to the side.
Okay. You guys rock. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Let me have all my guests up here. We're going to get some pictures. Thank you all so very much. Give yourselves a hand for coming out.
And he's 9 years old, and he's also the president of Rennell Parker, LLC.
All right.
On my lap to my left, this is Kelson Ryan Parker, and she is an artist. She we created her own website, and her website is www.poetrywithmydaddy.com, where her and I write poetry, and she also posts her artwork online.
inspiring you the most?
Being a family man,
Yeah.
being a husband and a father is, of course, the forefront of everything that I do. It is my reason, my
Here's Margie. So how does one recognize a vision? And once one does or doesn't recognize it, if it isn't exactly clear, what do you do?
If you can think of the vision as your North Star, and then goals are the structure that builds the ladder to your North Star. So it's both. You really want to be engaging all of who you are in this process. They're all three based on the premise that anything is possible, and that just just when you think you're at a dead end and it's ugly and there's nothing that can possibly save your rear end, that's when magic happens. And so that it doesn't matter what you do. It matters that we do it from our soul and from our heart, and that is what